Hey guys, it's Kelsey. I'm back with another scrapbooking process video, and today is a double collaboration. So I'm posting this today with the Stretch Your Sketch crew. So I'm going to be following their sketch and shrinking it down into an 8x6. But yesterday's hop was mad about mini paper pads, so I decided to smush them together for this page because I just so happened to have a 6x6 paper pad that went perfect with the colors and the theme I wanted to use for the photos I was saving for this sketch. So I'm starting out by building my 12x12, so this part of the process is not really for the stretch the sketch. You can see to the left there I do have that yellow diamond print. That's an 8x6. That's going to be my background for the stretch your sketch portion. But I'm a 12x12 scrapper. I like making 12x12 layouts, so I'm going to formulate my background using my 6x6 paper pad. So this is a technique I've been dying to do since the Mad About Mini Paper Pads collab started. And that's where you take 4 6x6s and you make them your background. You can do this by just having 4 squares in a quadrant. I'm trimming them in half and creating this pinwheel design, which I also think is a really fun way to do it. So that's what I decided. I really didn't have a 12x12 that went with this collection, but I had enough 6x6 in this book to be able to do this, and I actually used the remainder of the 6x6 in that little paper pad, so I was really happy about that. I've been hoarding this paper pad for this layout because there's little passport books in the die cut pack and this layout is documenting our passport photos, so I just thought it was perfect and I had to use it now or it was never getting used. So I'm just going to glue all of these triangles together to form my 12x12. If you're doing this design and the middle of your background is going to be showing, make sure you focus on getting those corners lined up precisely. But I know that my 8x6 layout is going to be layered on top of this 12x12 and the middle will be covered. So I'm focusing more on the corners around the page lining up. So that's kind of what I'm focusing on. And then I have a little bit of room and places where this didn't line up so perfect. So I'm just going to trim off a couple edges just to get that crisp edge where it looks like everything lined up perfect. And then that's my 12x12. I love this design. I used four different 6x6 papers. And now I'm going to move on to the stretch the sketch portion. We're using a sketch from Kelly Hollyfield. And it was a 12x12 with 3 pictures, 3 banners going down the middle, and then a couple layers behind the photos with a lot of like horizontal bits underneath the pictures. So I went ahead and pulled in that yellow fringe. There's little pops of that kind of mustard yellow in some of the paper in this collection. So I really wanted to get that fringe used up, especially because that's one of the extra things I pulled in this month for How to Kill a Kit with Style that I was really wanting to try to use up as the month went on. So I'm taking one of these 6x6s, I'm trimming 3 banners out of them, and they're like 1.5 inches wide, I believe. And I'm just going to make all the bottoms of those fishtails so I can mimic the sketch. Because it's 6x6, they're not long enough to go on this 6x8. But because I'm going to have several photos or layers behind the photos, I'll be able to cheat and cut those banners in half and kind of stretch them behind where my layers are going to go. So that's the plan. I'm trying to go through and figure out which paper layers I want to be the layers in the sketch. And there's actually a piece in the die cuts that's this really cool map print. And I thought since this is a passport layout documenting getting ready for travel, that would be perfect. So I'm getting the matte print. I'm going to mat it on my last 12x12, which is another airplane print. And that makes it just wide enough to kind of overhang those 3 banners, which is what I was looking for. So I moved the background out of the way so it wouldn't be so distracting because I really just want to focus on this 8x6 for a moment. And I'm going to start getting my pieces layered down. So I'm just starting from that back layer and working my way forward to the photos. So first thing was to get all of these banners down. I really wanted to layer them pretty close together, so I had as much area on the sides open as possible so that that middle layer could really overhang the banners. So I'm just using my grid mat behind the layout to try to keep all of this straight. But that's the background layer, and then I have a little map print, and then I need a couple of these horizontal bits. So I'm definitely using this yellow fringe, and then I'm going to go through some scraps in my pack and pull out one of the minty stripe papers. I really wanted to pull more of that mint in because the background that I created has a lot of the navy and the darker green, but there's a little pop of that mint in the compass print. So I wanted to pull more of that in to this little layout. So I'm just going to get this little stripe down on top of the fringe, and then my photos will sit on top of that. The sketch does have that back square layer going longer, so underneath the fringe. So I will trim that in half and kind of cheat again to make that map print look long enough. But I wanted a piece of that map print underneath this yellow fringe as well. So now that I have all the components, I'm just going to glue together all of the paper layers. And this is pretty much it for the paper, and now I just need to embellish. And again, what I really wanted to use were the two little passport die cuts that come in this this die cut pack, because we're literally documenting passport pictures. We got our passports all ready to go because we finally, after 3 years, are going to get to go on our honeymoon cruise to the Mediterranean, and we needed our passports. So I definitely, they gave us extras. So we had the one set of photos we had to mail in to get our passports done, and then they gave us these extras. And of course I'm a scrapbooker, so I have to scrapbook them. And so I decided just to mat them on a scrap of that little dark airplane paper. I wanted it to be dark so it had some contrast against the map and that minty stripe. And I'm just going to layer them up there. And that's pretty much the paper layers. Then I have to focus on embellishment. The sketch had a little bit of embellishment to the right, the bottom right part of the photos and the upper left part of the photos. But because I'm layering this on a 12 by 12, I will do stuff on the 12 by 12 to make it cohesive. So I might tweak that part a little bit. But I did just want to document that these were our passport pictures. So I'm going in with these green freckled fawn tile alphas, and I'm going to layer that right where the sketch notates it underneath the fringe layer. And that actually spaces out perfectly. I really want it to run the span of the bottom there, and there's kind of an awkward gap between passport and picture. So I'll scoot the pic over to the left so there's the gap is more on the right, and then that's where I will embellish to kind of camouflage the fact that there's a gap there. So that you can see here is how I initially did it, and I was like, no, that gap's too big, it looks awkward. I'm going to scooch these letters over and then use the small passport die cut on the right. So I like that. That's also an area where they notated embellishment, so at least I'm doing embellishment where they told me there. But the other embellishment areas I tweak a little bit. But I love this. I was really excited about this page. I love being able to use 6x6 paper pads like this. And I haven't since the Mad About Mini paper pad collab has started. So I've been dying for a page just like this to really show off and get a lot of those smaller scraps used. So now that the paper layers are done, I'm dumping out my die cut pack for the My Mind's Eye Wander collection, which is the 6x6 pack I used. It coordinates okay with my Felicity Jane and Freckled Fawn goodies. I'm kind of going off of my kit for this layout to really take advantage of the 6x6 paper pad for this. But I am using a 6x8 from my Freckled Fawn pack and the fringe from Felicity Jane. So, and a label from freckled fawn. I got a few things on there that worked out okay. So I'm thinking the bigger passport will go in the lower left-hand corner, so I'm just trying to create a little cluster down here. I'm really wanting to use this green title word that says trip, and then maybe one of the suitcases, and I actually decide on the yellow backpack just so I have a little bit of contrast. I have the navy passport book, the green trip title, so I wanted some yellow down there, and so I really like the backpack layered behind the passport. And then there's a little minty colored compass that coordinates with that pattern paper, so I wanted a pop of that mint down there too. And then I realized I have this yellow fringe on the 6x8x6 layout. I wanted some more yellow down there as well. So I'm taking a scrap of this tone-on-tone yellow stripe from that paper pad and creating a little fishtail banner down there. It will balance out the fishtails, pull some yellow down there, and kind of anchor that whole little embellishment cluster. So it worked out really well. And I got more scraps used, which is always great. So now that that's down, I'm going to relayer my little cluster here. I really like how it looks, so I'm going to start gluing down. I do pop the compass up on some foam, which gives it some really cute little dimension. And then I will pop the small passport book that's up by the photos onto some foam as well, so that will have some dimension too. I thought about also popping the trip word up on some foam, which that font is so cute. But I just thought it would be way too fiddly to try to back it in foam, so I just glue it straight down to the layout, which I think is fine. Maybe the letters are too big too to kind of make it dimensional. I think it's fine flat. So now I got the compass down, and I think I actually just used my wet glue for this. I didn't want to, I was too fiddly for me to even want to use double-sided tape for it, so I'm just going to use my Nuvo glue to get that title down. Before I switch over, I already have my foam out, so I'm going to go ahead and pop the other things up on foam that I wanted on foam. So I popped up the little passport book, and then there's this little travel badge that I thought looked super cute, and I popped that up on some foam, and that's going to sit above our photos right in between us. And I just think that's a really cute little embellishment. I kind of love how this 8x6 is a very symmetrical layout. I usually don't like symmetrical layouts because they can read a little boring sometimes because everything is just, you know, symmetrical. But I really love in this context it being symmetrical, and then it's kind of on a 12x12 that's not symmetrical, if that makes sense. I don't know if any of that made sense, but I really like the embellishment placement is what I was trying to say. And then before I glue all of this down, we are still doing the splash theme for How to Kill a Kit with Style, so I did add the Dylusions ink spray in London Blue to the background. The globe, the earth that is on the passport is that exact blue, and there's no other blue that's really that exact color because the passport itself is more navy. So I kind of like that splatter even though it's a different blue than the other papers because it does kind of play off of the water on the globe. So it was taking too long to dry, so I dabbed it, and now we're going to glue everything down. So I will glue down my 8x6, and then you saw I already pulled out the Emily Freckled Fawn word stickers and the, Felicity Jane word stickers, and then the Freckled Fawn heart puffy stickers. And I'm going to try to get some of each of those on this layout too. So I just layered 2 yellow word stickers down by the big passport. One says who knows, the other says just start. And then I'm layering that kind of minty green and mustard yellow heart in 2 different areas. So those are kind of balanced, and it gives you that extra dimension too. So I think this layout just turned out so cute. I'm so happy with it. So here I'm getting it all glued down, and I'm pretty sure that's it. So here are the close-ups. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you check the description for everyone playing along with Stretch or Sketch, which is today, and Mad About Mini Paper Pads, which was yesterday. I'm late to the game on that one, so I could post this on the Stretch the Sketch day. But thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.